This is the Hollywood Outsider, a weekly movie and TV podcast with a new episode every Thursday. And this week we're going to discuss upcoming releases including Oldboy, Black Nativity, Homefront, and Frozen. Spoiler-free reviews of The Best Man Holiday, About Time, and a little unknown foreign film called The Broken Circle Breakdown. The From the Outside In topic of this week, are there any really good Thanksgiving movies? As well as, what are we thankful for? Latest in movie and TV news, including our own trivia segments. My name is Aaron Peterson. With me today are my fellow hosts, Scotty Clark.
Hey, Aaron, how's it going, man?
It's going fantastic.
Yeah, I am convinced that your television is never, ever off.
Why, every time you come over here?
Every time I come over, it is on, it is blaring loud. There's nobody in the living room right now, but that fucker's on.
We have ghosts. We have ghosts.
The dog is enjoying that show, apparently.
The dog loves the news, man. Brian Williams.
Hey, what's going on? I personally have not been in your living room, so I have no smart comments about your TV.
I just want to know how often Scott's really over here, because he seems to know a lot about my television.
It's a question you might want to ask your wife.
And Justin McCumber.
Or his son.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
That just went to a very dark place.
He got in there, though, didn't he? Great news. The Killing, which is apparently that show that just won't die, got 6 more episodes via Netflix. Does that make... Scott, you like this stupid show?
I do not.
You did.
I like the first season.
You both liked the first season.
Yeah, it was good, but it's like it should have stopped at the one season.
They should have ended it and been done a one and done.
Yep.
And they got too greedy and...
It's the television version of a zombie. It just won't die.
It won't die. Why does it keep coming back? Why does it keep coming back?
Who's watching?
Why do they need 6 more episodes of this? And why 6?
I don't know. I mean, the part of the reason I didn't go back and even rewatch it was because the ending was spoiled for me on like a reputable news site.
Yeah, it was on
or
like
something.
CNN or something like that.
So I'm like, well, I know who did it. That's like the whole mystery of the show. Why am I going to even bother? And they solved that at the end of the second season. So what more is there to do?
You got me.
Well, weren't they talking about it one time, bringing it back, and then it was a whole other
case.
A whole other case, yeah. So I don't know, but it's one of those. It's almost like Under the Dome. Apparently, midway, I don't know what happened, but it was supposed to run just this summer, and then I guess somewhere along the way they decided, hey, this is actually getting some good ratings. Let's milk this some more. So the last episode was not a typical last episode, and they just kind of they're just kind of keep milking this cow, and
this cow is tipped over at this point.
Yeah,
It's dry.
It is.
Its teats are just putting out
teats look
powdered
like that
milk
old
at
lady
this
from The
point.
Shining right now.
Wow. And Scott, you got really excited like a little kid before.
I did.
About what? We put it on the website, but
The new, not teaser, but actual trailer for the new Muppet movie, Muppets Most Wanted, was released this week, and it looks fantastic.
Did you just go ee like a little
I
kid?
did, man. I don't care. Those movies are so fun. There has not been maybe one bad Muppet movie, but they're so clever. Everything they do. That last one was my favorite movie of that year, and I cannot wait to see that movie. It looks so funny. They have like a guy that's an imposter Kermit the Frog that's like from
Master Thief.
Oh, it looks so funny. It looks and Tina
Why do
Fey
bad guys always have facial hair?
or a mole.
I'm not evil. Much.
And this is like a total kid week for Scott because we've got apparently the Muppet trailer. And then you've got, the Xbox One, the PlayStation 4. It's like every game console in the world comes out the same within 10 days of each other. So basically you're just going to ignore everyone you know for, a month?
Not
I want to hold
up
up on that PS4, though.
Why? Oh, the blue light thing?
Because they're getting a lot of errors.
Yeah.
That's why I don't really care. But
But that's for a different show.
that is.
What idiots get the PS4 anyway?
That's right.
Why do you want to start a nerd war on this? We're going to get like 14,000 emails.
I mean, graphics-wise, it's not any better than the Xbox, and the experience is so much better on Xbox. But I don't know why on earth But hey, everybody, some people actually like Brussels sprouts, but just not me.
Let's go to movie news. How cool. Well, somewhere a nerd exploded.
I didn't bring it up. I wanted.
No, Brian. He's just targeting people. He's like, bam, you got a Sony on your back. There you go. How cool would it be to see Tom Cruise and Jack Nicholson from A Few Good Men reunited? Because Doug Liman, who directed Mr. and Mrs. Smith, he's attached to, and also the original Bourne Identity, is attached to direct El Presidente. Tom Cruise is supposed to star, and he says he will not do the movie without Jack Nicholson.
Yeah, I mean, you haven't seen these two guys together since A Few Good Men. And really, we haven't seen Jack Nicholson on the big screen since about 2010. That was the last time he was up in a movie. But El Presidente it's when I first heard the story, I wasn't quite sure if this was going to be, an action film or what. But it's apparently going to be a road trip comedy in which this straight-laced Secret Service agent, who would be played by Cruise if he takes the part, has to protect a drunken, misogynistic former U.S. president who's on the run from a death threat. To me, with Nicholson playing this president, this boozy, misogynistic president, and Cruise playing the guy who's supposed to be protecting him, and they're on the run, this sounds like a big bowl of win. Mm-hmm. Really funny. Cruise can be really funny. Of course, Nicholson can be hysterical. So, personally, I'm hoping that this goes through. Nicholson said that he would take a look at the script and, kind of base his decision from there. But if he doesn't take the role, then Cruise said he'll pass on it. It is worth noting, though, that this movie's actually been in development since 2010, when Jay Roach, who directed the Austin Powers movies, was set to direct it, and it was going to star Robert Downey Jr. actually as the president.
I would pay money just to watch Jack Nicholson eat that bowl of wind. That is one actor that I will watch do anything. Absolutely anything. Mm-hmm. Anything. And I know he's like semi-retired or whatever he is. He's hanging out at basketball games, ogling girls that are, 1/4 his age at this point. I just love the man.
You've made it to uber Hollywood status when you can actually say, I'm not doing this movie unless Jack Nicholson's in it.
Yeah, that's true.
My question is what is this? So what happens if he doesn't do it and Cruise doesn't?
It turns into a Seth Rogen, James Franco movie.
Yeah.
That sounds about right. 5 years from now, we're going to see El Presidente, Tom Cruise producing, and James Franco and Seth Rogen like smoking weed.
It's also worth noting that Doug Liman and Tom Cruise actually just finished working together recently on that sci-fi movie that used to be called All You Need Is Kill, but now it's called Edge of Tomorrow.
I still don't know which title is worse. I don't think either one of them are really, got to see that.
I like All You Need Is Kill, but because it's kind of quirky, but I could see why a lot of audiences probably wouldn't care for it. But Lyman, he's one of those directors that he can do comedy and he can do action films. And when he pairs them both together, which I thought he did exceedingly well in Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
Oh, yeah.
I think he's one of the perfect directors for a project like this. So I do hope he gets to do it with the actors that he'd like to do it with. It sounds like a great movie.
I didn't know he did that.
Yeah, he did.
I love that movie.
Oh, Lyman's good. And he did the Bourne Identity without the shaky cam. So,
didn't he also direct Swingers?
He did, which is a fantastic. Your money, baby.
I love that movie. Mm-hmm. Your money, you don't even know it.
Your money, and you don't even know it. Hey,
he's all grows up.
Speaking of things that might make 80-year-old women just cringe, Hollywood announced that they are shopping around a sequel to It's a Wonderful Life, focusing on George Bailey's grandson. Do you think this is like blasphemy?
I don't care, really.
All right.
I don't know. So apparently George Bailey's grandson, who just happens also to be named George Bailey, is a douche. And I guess an angel visits him to kind of change his ways. I don't even know why a sequel needs to be done. To me, it's not so much a sacred thing. It's just more of some movies just need to be one and done. It was a good movie. Okay. Just why is there a need for a sequel to this specific movie?
It's just milking the name. That's all it is.
Didn't they already try to milk it a few years ago with that Nicolas Cage movie, Family Man or something?
Yeah.
And
They've had this concept in I don't know how many movies at this point. I mean,
Yeah.
they've all tried to emulate It's a Wonderful Life.
Right.
No, Nicolas Cage is no Jimmy Stewart, sir. No.
No, he is not.
No, he's not even a French Stewart, really, at this point.
Oh, man.
Yeah,
Wow.
I said it.
Nice.
By the way, you can't see him, but Scott just did a fantastic facial impression of French Stewart.
Did he scrunch up his face?
He's all scrunchy face. Yeah.
And barely talk out of your mouth
Well,
like this.
I am one that grew up, I watched this movie every single Christmas. I just leave it alone. Don't taint it. Don't put something. It's kind of like Chinatown when they brought out Chinatown 2. I have a hard time watching the first Chinatown now because the two Jakes ruined it for me. I don't want a movie that I have to remember when I watch the original. Leave it alone. Call it something else. It's an average life.
It's a mediocre life.
It's a mediocre life. The American story.
Meh.
Call it
Meh.
meh.
It just seems like a Lifetime movie or a Hallmark Channel movie.
Oh, it does. Absolutely.
Should be starring John Schneider.
You can get the other Duke in there, too.
Tom Wopat.
Oh, yeah, he's free.
And Meredith Baxter Burney.
Ooh. Is she still acting? I hope so. She was crazy.
She did.
Then I feel bad.
Oh, I don't know.
No, she's not dead.
Oh, I feel better. Yay.
Well, Aaron, you just rode the highs and lows right there.
You got one hell of a barometer, let me tell you.
One thing that is really weird that I always saw this week, The Heat, that recent big hit with Sandra Bullock and Melissa McCarthy. It's getting a spinoff, but it's not for Sandra Bullock or Melissa McCarthy. It's for the Beth and Gina characters that were in Melissa McCarthy's family in the movie. What? Who wanted that?
Well, first off, it's funny you bring this up because I actually just saw this movie this weekend on disc.
Oh, it's not funny. I know you just saw it. That's why I mentioned it.
Oh, okay, I see.
That's why I gave it to you, I should say.
It's hilarious. You need to see this movie anyway. But this sounds like a terrible idea. I will.
It's fresh in your mind. Would you want to see a whole movie with those guys?
No, absolutely. This is 36 hours ago I watched this movie, so I would not have remembered those two characters' names if I hadn't seen it, and I just saw that movie. There was a scene in the film with them that was pretty funny, but it was not a high point of the film by any means.
Yeah, they were in it like a minute and a half.
Yeah, and it is not anywhere near spin-off worthy whatsoever.
90 minutes of that?
No.
Okay, and that brings us to the most... Normally we don't do stories like this, but I thought this is one of the most interesting things I saw all week. It was pretty light on movie news this week. But for geeks like us that have wondered forever about why Terrence Howard didn't come back to the Iron Man series, and seriously, I don't know a single person that's a fan that didn't know why'd you replace him with Don Cheadle? They don't look the same. Terrence Howard went public while he was out promoting The Best Man Holiday and essentially blamed Robert Downey Jr. And I mean, he really blamed him for not returning to Iron Man 2. The bitter truth, or do you think this is just sour grapes?
Well, I really, we've spoken previously about just how nebulous this whole contract thing seems to be in Hollywood. Because what Terrence Howard says in this little video clip was that he and Robert Downey Jr. were contracted for 3 films. But when they came to do the second film, the studio came to Terrence Howard and said, we're going to go ahead and just pay you 1/8 of what we were originally going to pay you because we don't think the series really needs you. And his implication was that Robert Downey Jr. asked for more money, and so the money he got came from Terrence Howard's salary. Whether or not this is true, I have no idea, because it seems absurd to me that if you contract actors to play in a certain number of movies and then you contract a certain amount of money to be paid to them in the movies, if a studio then comes to me and says, yeah, we're not going to pay you what we said we were going to, then why don't you sue? Mm-hmm. And if an actor comes to the studio and says, yeah, I'm not going to do the second movie that I said I would do and signed to do unless you pay me, say, double, then why don't they sue him? Granted, he's the face of the franchise, and if he had failed his job, then the movie would have failed. And then the Marvel film franchise probably would have never gotten started. So I could see why they would want to give him more money. But to take that away from Terrence Howard's cut, I don't know how true that is, but that seems to be what he thinks and what he believes. I don't know how much of that is sour grapes, and I've never heard anything said from Robert Downey Jr.'s side of it or the studio side, but that's just what he's saying.
He doesn't need to. He's just got like a flat-out ATM machine. I mean, they're just...
With a Marvel stamp?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well,
Here you go.
I do feel bad for him because he did a really good job as Rhodes in that film, and I think
I
that he
like him better
deserved.
than Don Cheadle.
Mm-hmm.
I think he
liked him better. Sorry,
I liked him better too, and I think he deserved to get paid and to do these other movies. Now, whether or not Cheadle got paid the same pitiful amount that Terrence Howard said he was going to be paid, that I don't know either. But that's just what he's got to say on the subject, and you always have to take these kinds of things with a pinch of salt because people can be bitter and bitterness can do bad things.
Yeah, there's a lot of information that we don't know. I mean, There's got to be. It's not like the studio can be like, I'm altering the deal. Pray I don't alter it any further.
Right.
A nice Star Wars reference.
On the other hand, they're I think they're right in saying the sequels would have been successful. Obviously, they were.
Absolutely. Obviously, it didn't matter.
It didn't matter.
Rhodey.
So,
yeah.
But yeah, I'm with Justin. I liked him better. I like Don Cheadle too.
Well, the one thing that I might have been on board with him in what he's saying, if at one point during the interview he actually, and you can go to the post on our page when this is the actual episode post, I put a link up to it. In the actual interview, he says, "I got him the job." I'm like, "What? You didn't get him shit. What are you talking about, dude?" I mean, that's where in my mind, I'm listening to it going, all right. I'm with you. Wait, you got him you made him Iron Man? What? When that happened?
Well, what I would say is that because we don't know all of the ins and outs of Downey being hired, it very well could have been an instance of where he said to somebody, yeah, I think he's really good for this role. I know he's had a past. Give him a chance. And maybe that's how he sees.
Yeah, because, I mean, before Iron Man, Terrence Howard actually had more clout than Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah, but Jon Favreau has been on record as fighting for him because that's
well, a lot of people probably did. But if if you and the other three of us fight for somebody to get a job, and they get the job, you would probably feel, and you're the only one really fighting for it. You may feel like you helped them get the job.
That's true. That's fair enough.
It's just all perception, man. Perception is reality, unfortunately.
I do think they were casting him was, I think, wrong because I actually agree with everybody that Terrence Howard was a better Rhodey, my opinion. Mm-hmm. But it didn't really take away much from the movie for me. I still enjoyed him as much as I was going to enjoy. I don't think he really would have added or directed. That whole movie was built on Downey's
the only real thing that I'm missing with Cheadle versus him is Terrence Howard has a little bit more of a military bearing than Don Cheadle does. Mm-hmm. He is more believable in the whatever his rank was. Colonel. He just looks more like a military guy than Cheadle does. Cheadle looks like an executive.
Well, he's got that sarcasm that I think that character requires. He's got just kind of twinkle in his eye, but I can't blame him for being a little bitter because look at where the franchise has gone.
Yeah, I guess.
I mean, it's just been huge, and wouldn't you love to have those feathers in your cap?
Mm-hmm. I do love how they handled it, though, in the movie itself.
Oh, yeah, I'm here, deal with it.
Yeah, just like one line, and okay, you got me.
I like Terrence Howard a lot more than Don Cheadle. I've just always thought Don Cheadle was an overrated actor. I'm getting ready for an email. But I'm sorry, I just think Terrence Howard is charming. He's got, like they said, he's got that twinkle, like Justin said.
Mm-hmm. Welcome to Brian's Trailer Park. Well, kind of staying with the religious stuff here. Everyone's favorite zookeeper / boat builder is finally getting his first big film in the epic, kind of in the epic vein of the Ten Commandments and Ben-Hur. Noah opens on March 28th. And if I have to tell you the story of Noah, then just email me at thehollywoodoutsider.com or call me at 818-814-6246.
Nice, Brian.
While the visuals are stunning and there is some tension in this, I have to admit, the primary cast in this is distractingly beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Not rugged, biblical type looking people. They're chiseled, little beards and stuff like that. It's
not really biblical type people. I don't even know.
No, I'm sorry. When you've got a groomed little, the little starter beard kit going, and you got the chiseled jaw. I'm sorry, with Emma Watson and whoever's playing Noah's son, or who, I don't know. But anyway, I know, Justin, you're our resident reverend and lover of all things biblical. So what'd you think about it?
Slow clap.
Well, you already kind of mentioned one thing that I've got a problem with. It is the continued Europeification of biblical stories. I can't stand every time I see an image of Christ or any biblical figure that looks as white as Wonder Bread. It is, if I were from that region of the world, I would be as incensed as dwarfs were when they weren't cast in the Hobbits. I mean, come the fuck on. This is not a true representation of what these people look like. But that aside, it looks like a really interesting film, and I like that it has kind of this really dark, gritty tone to it. That it's not Evan Almighty. It's really got a look to it that I was surprised by. Now I don't know about its how truthful or how close of an adaptation it is to the story of Noah and the Ark. I have no idea if there was this much drama leading up to it, but I'm really hoping that we will see, as it ends, an image of two unicorns not quite making it. Looking at each other as a rainbow tear just kind of falls.
A Yeti just in the distance running towards it.
Saved by a leprechaun.
Dragons
Couple
flying.
dinosaurs.
They get caught by a tidal
Plummeting
wave.
into the sea because they're tired of flying.
Khaleesi flies in.
I think it looks.
But no, it looks nice. I will say that.
I think
Other than a bunch of white people.
I think it looks awesome. I was not expecting to like this trailer.
Really? Because you're trying to get away from the Bible. I'm just saying.
I like the whole dynamic of someone trying to just destroy the Ark and come in and fight and that kind of thing. Because that, to my recollection, that didn't happen. Like, Noah was trying to get people to come onto the Ark in the Bible. Like, please come, be saved.
Only in pairs. If you got three of you, one of them's going to stay behind.
I'm also intrigued by the idea that a lot of the test audiences didn't like how this movie ended. To me, that intrigues me because I know how the story ends, and if there's something that didn't happen the way it happened in the Bible, I'm going into the movie not just knowing how it ends.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that to me actually gets me excited to see it.
Man, if they changed it from what's in the Bible, there would be mass hysteria. You can't do it. As much as I think that would actually be kind of cool.
Yeah.
Because, hey, it's their movie. I think the trailer looks awesome. The only thing that concerns me, it isn't the cast or anything else, it's the director, who I don't like, and that's Darren Aronofsky. Aronofsky, sorry. He directed one of my most loathed movies ever, and that's The Fountain. I know Justin likes it. I'm not picking on the movie. I'm just saying I don't like his style. And that concerns me. But this looks more like a studio movie than it does one of his movies.
Right.
So,
yeah, that's kind of, I think that's what I like about it. It does look like a studio movie, but it's got his visual scenes. Visually, he makes some of the most striking movies that are out there.
Beautiful.
They don't make
visually.
any fucking sense, but they look great.
Yep, that's what I would say about most of his, yeah.
All right, so again, that opens up March 28th of next year. So going from a heavenly intervention to a devilish impregnation, Devil's Due opens January 14th and is a kind of a found footage-esque type of film where the husband records his wife's sudden pregnancy for posterity reasons, but when her personality changes drastically, he realizes it may be more than just the hormones. Scott, I know you love the dark arts. You've got a goat head mounted on your wall. You got pentagram on your floor in your entryway to your house, and I know you wear a cape to work. So you got to be dying to see this one, right?
I should be so tired of this genre, but for some reason I'm not. I'm not saying that I'm going to run out and see this one on day one, but I do love seeing this kind of movie in the theater with an audience that likes to be freaked out. But again, January. Look at the track record of horror movies or scary movies that come out in January. What was that? The one with the mom.
Movies in general. January is not exactly a
right.
month.
The Devil Within was one.
Ugh.
Remember that one? That came out in January. Didn't it?
I think Justin remembers it.
Ugh.
I just don't know why January. People want to be freaked out in October. Just do it in
They've
October.
had so much happiness for like 2 months straight.
Yeah, fuck it. Let's get into it.
Let's get into it. Justin, that's your kind of movie. Are you into this?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of like with Scott. You'd think by now we'd all be tired of the found footage horror movie, but nope. I'm up for it.
And actually, a listener, Michael Brudenall, recommended this, so thanks for that, Michael. I don't like found footage very much. I mean, it's kind of burning a hole in me, except for a couple franchises. This one looks, I like it. It looks interesting. It looks a little creative. They're adding some special effects, and like I said, the more, like I've said before, the more special effects they add into these movies, the more I can get back into them. Because you're giving me something that I'm not going to get from every other found footage flick. So the only thing that worries me about this is this coming out right after Paranormal Activity Marked Ones.
Cinco?
Yeah. No, not Cinco. That's out in October. The Marked Ones. So, shut up. So, do you guys think that that's going to cause a problem? Do you think it's going to keep this one from being a hit? Stop making fun of me, bitches.
No, I thought that was a brilliant joke by Scott that just went under the radar. Brilliant. It looks like it almost belongs with the Paranormal Activity. It's almost like the same type of production. Mm-hmm. It just kind of, I don't know how to explain it, but it just looked and felt kind of like like a Paranormal Activity movie. It's just got to deal with the Antichrist or something, I guess. I don't know.
Looks like it has a little more money than Paranormal Activity does, though.
I'll be honest, I'm just scared that this is kind of showing all the scary parts.
I don't know. The way that trailer ended with just her screaming at the camera, that wasn't the scariest part of that trailer to me.
It's like Rosemary's Baby, and you get to actually watch the delivery.
Yeah.
I like it.
I don't know. I mean, you got they're laying on the couch with the baby, doing a fist bump out of her gut or something.
That happens, man. That's a severe
That
kick.
much?
Maybe not that much, but...
All right, well, again, Devil's Due opens up January 14th, so there probably won't be a whole lot else going on. Check it out. Watch these trailers and those from recent episodes at thehollywoodoutsiders.com. Reach us on Twitter at H_outsider. Go on to facebook.com/thehollywoodoutsiders. Leave us a message and stuff like that on there. Like us. We like to be liked. It makes us feel better.
Mm-hmm. Inside.
Yep. Our lives suck, so it makes us feel a little bit better.
And it is the holidays.
Yeah. So leave us a message, as I mentioned earlier. Leave us a message or text us at 818-81 I'm a Ho or 818-814-6246. And, of course, you can email us at feedback@thehollywoodoutsiders.com.
And if you go do your Black Friday shopping, go to our website and shop, hit the Amazon link through there, and then buy all your stuff. Because that helps support the show, and we'd appreciate it. And I'm not good at begging for dollars. So now let's go to our trivia game, The Fifth Degree. That's where we take an actor. This week it's going to be Rachel McAdams, since we're going to be talking about time. And one of our hosts basically tries to pair her up with either a genre or a movie, whatever the host wants to. And we have to try to match it or get to it in 5 degrees. This week it is Justin's turn. Justin, hook us up.
All right, well, this week we're going to pair Rachel McAdams with Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol.
Holy crap.
Oh, man.
Wow, you went specific on that.
Dun, 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 dun.
Was she ever in Lost?
Lost? Who's
No,
in?
but speaking of which, I did hear today that Terry O'Quinn is in the running for Lex Luthor. Who's the psychic here? Huh? What?
That would be cool. That would be pretty
cool.
They're just going resident bald guys at this point. Anybody who's lost his hair, Bryan Cranston, Terry O'Quinn, Rachel McAdams, somebody from Mission Impossible. You, Brian's up for it. I think you'd be a great diabolical genius. Wow, we still don't have it. Nobody's got it?
Hang on.
I don't recall Lex Luthor ever having a twang, though.
You know, it's time we shake up the mythology.
That's true.
Stop playing it safe.
Fuck it. If Superman can kill, Lex Luthor can be from the South.
You know, if Justin were thinking, he'd be telling us to shut the fuck up right now.
That's right. I would be, but I'm not.
Rachel McAdams with Mission Impossible 5. Man.
Wasn't that 4?
It was Ghost Protocol. Was that 4? All right.
4.
Whatever. Was Simon Pegg in Lost?
She had a small part in it that we didn't notice.
No?
God, I really hope everybody in our audience has beaten us by now because we suck. What? You got it? You got it?
Oh, wait. All right. Rachel McAdams played in Sherlock Holmes with Robert Downey Jr., who was in Tropic Thunder that had Tom Cruise in it, who was in Mission Impossible.
Wow. That is a much faster and closer degree than I had.
I completely forgot about Sherlock Holmes.
I'm really ashamed that I did too, but nice job, Brian. Good for you.
What?
Wow. That is much faster. I also went with Sherlock Holmes, but I'd forgotten that Tom Cruise
you went through
in
Avengers?
Tropic Thunder.
I was trying to go through, what's the movie? She was in The Notebook with the woman that was in The Contender. I can't remember her name.
All right, then you obviously had nothing.
I
Can't remember her name. It's the woman in The Contender.
The main actor in the you told me to watch that
Scott's
movie.
that blockbuster guy. Joan Allen?
Joan Allen.
Joan Allen.
She was in Joan Allen. She was in
Joan Allen? What?
She was in Notebook with Joan Allen.
What
and
kind of movie is that?
That was going to get me to Face Off, which I had Nicolas Cage and John Travolta, and I just got lost. So I tried.
Hey, you gave it your best shot, man. You do what you got to do.
All right, I'm here to pick up your slack.
The big screen. Let's go to review some new releases. The Best Man Holiday. In 1999, there was a little movie called The Best Man. In it, Harper was an aspiring writer who basically published a book, and that book declared that he had once had an affair with his best friend, Lance's bride-to-be, Mia. And then along for the ride were their two other friends, Quentin and Julian. It was one of those movies that I thought was just, it was just a meh film. Well, that apparently thrived on home video so much they decided to make a sequel that reunited the entire cast. Most importantly, Morris Chestnut as Lance, who is still married to Mia and is finally retiring as a running back. You got Taye Diggs comes back as Harper. He's now expecting with Robin. And I'm explaining, if you saw Best Man, you know who these characters are. If you don't, well, then you'll find out when you see the movie. And his book from the first film was his last hit. He's not really doing well financially, so he's secretly considering writing a biography on his best friend Lance without, obviously telling him because it's a secret. Harold Perrineau, who was in what, Justin?
Lost.
There you go.
Whoa!
Sons of Anarchy. Shut up.
He plays Julian, who just lost.
On The Matrix Reloaded. What?
Was he really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, he took over as the pilot for the Nebuchadnezzar.
Very nice.
Yeah, he showed up after you turned it off.
Good call. After the highway chase is about where I got tired. As Julian, who he just lost a $2 million donor to his college because his wife had a little bit of a shady youth that ends up on YouTube. And Terrence Howard, who we talked about earlier, he returns as Quentin, still single, still smoking weed, like he's auditioning for a role on Friday. So, also back is Jordan, who was played by Nia Long, who I love Nia Long. I've had a crush on her forever. Still looks gorgeous. And Shelby from the first movie's back as well. But they all get together at Lance and Mia's mansion for a reunion over Christmas weekend. This is a movie we talked about a few weeks back, and I said I wanted nothing to do with because the first one was bland. I didn't really care about seeing it. I am just so glad I went. It's one of those things where it's a movie that completely takes you off guard. It's a mixture of that, the audience that I saw it with, the things that did work in the original, which was the main foursome, that quartet of those guys. They focus more on the actual chemistry between those characters instead of trying to have this really complicated plot. I mean, everybody has their little subplots, but it's really about the friends coming together and Christmas and bringing love together. I mean, it's really a sweet, sweet movie, and it's funny as hell. And it's not watered down. It's not like a Medea movie where it's all safe for, church audiences and all that. I mean, there's a lot of, it's rated R, and there's a lot of sexy time, and there's some F-bombs dropping left and right. So there's several storylines, and everybody seems to get fair play, which is no small feat for a movie like this. The audience I saw it with absolutely loved it, made this movie so much more fun than it probably would have been otherwise. And every time Morris Chestnut takes his shirt off, I mean, you would have thought we got a bomb threat in the theater. Because, oh my God! Just went freaking nuts.
What about everybody else other than you?
Yeah, I was probably the loudest. Yeah. I mean, he's a sexy man. He works out. I'm just saying. In the time he looks like he could be a running back. It bounces back and forth between comedy and drama. There is a lot of heart in this movie. There are actually tears shed. I actually cried in this movie. Didn't expect that to happen. I just didn't know what emotion was coming next. And that's the kind of movie I like to see this time of year. I didn't know if I was going to laugh or I was going to cry. And they blended it together so well. All I want to do is see this cast reunited again, which apparently they're going to do a third film because this one did so well. This is the kind of movie I love to see this time of year. So if $10 is the full price of admission, this one's worth $8.
Nice.
And you saw, Scotty, About Time.
I did. About Time is a British movie, and the main character is a guy named Tim. Tim learns at the age of 21 that he has the ability to travel back in time to relive moments in his life. He uses that gift to basically change what happens in an attempt to better his life. Being the lonely guy that he is, he decides the most important thing to do, get a girlfriend. That task proves to be more difficult than he had hoped, but eventually pays off, but also comes at a price. Now, when you say time travel in a movie, I assume that a lot of people that hate science fiction just kind of shut down. But this isn't a science fiction or fantasy movie.
Is there a giant machine?
There's no machine. There's nothing at all. His ability is handled in such a way that the whimsy becomes such an afterthought, and you're automatically invested in the idea. All he does is goes into a closet and closes his eyes and clenches his fist, and that's it. There's no machine. There's no lightning bolts.
Sounds like your childhood. Yeah.
There's no what the movie becomes is a heartfelt look at life and how precious your time with your loved ones truly is. And you don't really get that from the trailer as much. You get a little bit of it, but it goes way deeper than
No,
you
I thought it
think
was just
does.
a romantic comedy.
It's really not. It's not. The love story is part of it. There's a lot more family stuff going on. Guys, I absolutely adored this film. I was sold on the story as it was, but it goes into some deeply emotional routes that I was not expecting. And it starts to go the typical romantic comedy route a couple times, and it comes close to that edge, and it veers back. And I just found that so refreshing. It deliberately sidesteps it and does it well, so that it almost, I don't know how to describe that without sounding like it's just doing it just to be different, but it comes close to going some certain ways and then just doesn't. I truly appreciated the fresh approach to a love story, too. And on top of that, the humor really felt unscripted.
How was the lead guy? Because I don't know this guy from Adam.
He was really, really good. He reminded me of a young Hugh Grant. Especially
I love Hugh Grant.
Especially his voice, because he does a lot of the voiceover in it, and he just sounds like a 25-year younger Hugh Grant, legitimately.
Now I really want to see it.
Brian, am I the only one who's a little uncomfortable by the way he said that?
With me or him?
You love Hugh Grant.
I really do. I really do.
I mean, there was definitely a chubby in your voice when you said that.
But he's not
I've
quite.
been driving around the street corners trying to find him for years.
He's not quite as eloquent as Hugh Grant, but he's a slightly more awkward, ruddier version of him, if that makes sense. Rachel McAdams, simply a delight to see on screen. She does seem a little out of place because she's American while everybody else is British, but that's done intentionally.
So she stands out.
Right, so she stands out for that, but I mean the story plays that way. She has a charm about her that, for lack of a better term, just makes you feel warm inside. Because
So you'd say she's the new Meg Ryan?
Sure. That's
yeah.
kind of fair.
In Justin's world, she's a new Meg Ryan.
I'm also going to make a pretty bold statement and say that this is officially my favorite performance by Bill Nighy.
Really? He's a pretty good actor, too.
He has such an ability to deliver his lines at the same time both straightforward and wishy-washy. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Even better than Davy Jones? I don't think so.
I liked this better than Davy Jones, and he's so entertaining to watch. You can see
Davy Jones.
You can see the You can see the.
Sorry.
You done? You can see the love in his eyes in each scene, and he made me want to be a part of that family more than any other character in the movie. To me, when you get drawn in that much, it's awesome. As far as the production itself, there's no special effects, which I actually was.
I'm actually surprised with the time travel. I would have thought there'd be.
There's no machine.
And
There's
even
no
little
Exactly.
nothing. And the way that he's introduced to it is just. It reminds me of remember how in the movie Looper, when they talked about time travel a little bit, and there was no like scientific explanation. It was just like, we can travel through time.
We figured it out, dude.
Deal with it. You know what I mean? That's kind of how it is here. It takes there's a little bit of like getting him to believe it kind of thing, but it's been done. It's super effective. My only minor complaint is, as you might have guessed, that there's a minor shaky cam. Only in a couple scenes. It's very, very little, but I just can't in good conscience not knock off for that because it is so utterly distracting. There's one scene also that I thought was really effective. You know how in some movies it's just completely pitch black and all you're hearing is conversation? There's a scene like that in this movie, but it takes a little bit different step to it that I really, really appreciated, and I can't really tell you what it is without spoiling it, but it's definitely worth checking out. So my final verdict, I think a lot of movies try to be super cheesy in an attempt to make you want to hug your family tighter. About Time does it...
Tighter? I don't want to hug them at all.
Well, About Time will make you want to, but it does it with a charming story and cast without using worn-out tropes or cheesy dialogue. It uses lifelike characters in a real-world setting with a bit of fantasy to give a fresh story that I can't recommend enough. If $10 were a full price of admission, I would pay $9.
Wow. And you're chintzy with the scores.
I really liked it. Now, I will preface that by saying there were some...
Oh, you're like Justin.
You can't really preface it because you already said it.
I'm sorry. That's not the right word. I'm going to follow that up with, I'm going to postscript, say it. There were some personal things in the movie that hit me a little bit closer. Like there was a song from my wedding video that was used in the movie like 3 times. And some things with his dad that I'm not going to lie, guys. I pulled an Aaron.
I believe I can fly.
I welled up pretty good and had
I
it.
want to piss on you. Sorry, wrong R. Kelly song. Wrong R. Kelly song.
What the fuck?
Oh my God!
I'm talking about my wedding video.
I was about to head into Aerosmith territory, but you got to get all golden shower.
Jesus God!
He's still mad about my iPhone noise earlier, so he's got to get me back.
That's cool, man. I actually, that's one I wanted to see. I was going to see it with Scott, but he decided to see it with his wife instead. So whatever.
Oh man, why was he thinking that?
Yeah, I don't know. Selfish.
Silly kids.
She
jackass.
loved it, by the way. She gave it a 10.
Well, that's good. I'm glad she enjoyed it because I wasn't available.
Yeah.
Brian, we saw the Fun Fest. The
Good times were had by all. Let me tell you.
Yeah, the Broken Circle Breakdown. Say that 3 times real fast. Tell us about it.
All right. Really, without giving away a whole lot, it is a foreign movie. It's about a Belgian couple that shares a love of bluegrass, and their family is struck by a tragedy, and it's basically this movie is about they try to handle not only the tragedy but really the kind of the ripple effect that it has on them and their struggling relationship. This, I know, Aaron, you kind of mentioned Memento. It kind of had that kind of feel about it because there is a kind of a shift in timelines, both forward and backward, which I thought was done very well.
Yeah, very. And this is one of those movies where it's being pushed for a Best Foreign Oscar, kind of. You know, that's basically what it's out there for. And it is subtitled, so that might put some people off. So we'll let you know that, like Brian said up front. The storyline goes back and forth from the beginning of the relationship to the tragedy that happens, to their future, where they are, and it's kind of like meshing them all at the end, you know, like Memento style. I didn't like it at first, Brian. I don't know about you, but like for the first 45 minutes, it was really irritating me.
You know, they don't even tell you what date or time it is until but there's only like once at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah, 2008, and then it flashes back.
And it tells you like 6 years before. Mm-hmm. And then that's it. It's up to you to figure out which part of their existence that they're in after that.
really, really interesting storyline, though. I mean, I got to tell you, for a movie that's not happy at all, because it is, the tragedy is very tragic. I'm not going to tell you what it is because it would be a spoiler, but how their relationship tries to hold in the midst of an event, and one of them is a devout atheist. They actually bring in religion is involved in it in some degree. One of them is a devout atheist. One of them is a religious person,
but not right.
Not overly religious though.
Right, exactly.
Just has moderate religious overtones, and they start butting heads because of their differences in ideology, and that causes an additional rift in their relationship. And they have a hard time coming back together because of this, and it's them fighting. It's hard to explain without spoiling exactly what happens, but it's really something to watch. The performances by, how do you say their names? Because I'm not even going to try.
Now, I'll be honest with you. I'm not even going to try to pronounce their real names, but I'll go with the character names just because I heard them, of course, in the movie. Didier is the male, and Elise is his wife.
Right. Both phenomenal. Actually, just wonderful as a couple, and heartbreaking, and just fantastic performances. It's one of those movies where it's carried by both the performances and the soundtrack.
Yeah, I mean, the soundtrack really was, to me, was almost like a while Didier and Elise were really kind of the primary stars of the movie, the bluegrass music was almost like a third primary character in it because it plays so well, and to me, just worked very masterfully. It was each song that they did throughout the movie just kind of seemed to perfectly match whatever was going on. Yeah,
it propelled the story forward, I would say, and. I normally don't like bluegrass, but I got to tell you, I was into almost every song. It added to the mood of the story, and it really helped because it's kind of confusing being a Swedish movie or whatever it is. It's very, very hard because they do have English in it. Every song is actually in English, but they actually speak in Swedish. Is it Swedish?
No, it's Flemish.
Flemish, sorry. I thought you were making that up. That's a real language.
It is.
That almost sounds real.
But they go back and forth. There's actually several sections that are all in English where they do their vows. It's in English, and then they go back to their native language. It can take you out of the movie a little bit, but the music is so well done, and so I really want to get the soundtrack. I never thought I'd want to buy a bluegrass soundtrack.
The last performance that I won't say what they were doing, but the last performance that they did, I absolutely loved it.
Oh yeah, that was the end of the movie is very, very moving, very moving. So what's your final verdict?
I gave it a 7, and I honestly, this movie took me probably about 2 days to really, I guess, to kind of soak it in and kind of understand it. Because when I first turned it off, after it was over, I didn't like it. And then I got to really kind of thinking about it and just kind of letting it soak in, because it is very heavy. It is very emotional. It's one of those that I actually highly recommend it, but watch it only once. It's
same thing.
It is very good, but it's just one of those movies that I don't think, I just don't think it warrants a whole lot of rewatching and stuff. I actually gave it a 6.5 and bumped it up to a 7 because of the music. It's the music is phenomenal. Is fantastic, and I like you. I'm thinking about buying the soundtrack myself just because it was very good. So, what'd you give it?
It's a strong film, and it's about personal faith and how we handle it. As much as I was moved by it, I kind of felt the same way as Brian. Whereas as soon as it was over, I'm like, this is a movie I want to recommend and never ever watch again.
Right.
And you want people, especially if you're a fan of like foreign films or art films, it's up your alley. It really is. If you're somebody that prefers just spectacle, just big budget bang and simple storylines, then you probably won't like it. But if you like art films, it's definitely up your alley. If $10 is full price, $7 is as well. Box office. Guess what? Thor, he brought the thunder again. $36 million for $145 million total. And Justin, Brian, $500 million worldwide so far. $500 million for Thor. They're saying it could get to $600 or $700 million.
Yeah, it's good.
It's good to be Marvel right now.
Yeah. I think Disney's quite happy with that purchase at this point. Always a Bridesmaid, The Best Man, came in second with $30 million in half as many theaters as Thor. I got to say, it actually had a higher per screen average than Thor did. It's just surprising because the original movie only made like 25 or $30 million total. Las Vegas stayed alive, with $8.4 million for a $46 million total. Freebirds just will not get shot down as it held strong with $8.1 million for a $42 million total. And Bad Grandpa is hanging on for dear life at number 5 with $7.4 million, $89 million total. That's going to be yet another Jackass movie that makes $100 million. Mm-hmm.
All right, folks, so we have got 4 films that we're going to be talking about, all of them opening up on November 27th, which, just in trivia note, is my anniversary date. So I doubt we'll be going out to the theater to see either of these movies. But
oh, happy anniversary.
14 wonderful years.
Oh,
well, 13 wonderful years, and then, you know, let's just pile in all those weird weekends and not talking to each other nights. I don't know if they make out a full year. Anyway, 4 films.
It got awkward.
Well, my wife doesn't listen to the show.
That's good news.
First one, the weirdest title ever, Black Nativity.
That's racist.
This is a musical that is directed by Cassie Lemons, based on the play by Langston Hughes. And it stars Angela Bassett, Forrest Whitaker, Jennifer Hudson, and I don't know if it's the premiere movie, but Jacob Lattimore is the young man who stars in it as a streetwise teen from Baltimore who's been raised by a single mother and then has to travel to New York City to spend the Christmas holiday with his estranged relatives. There he embarks on a surprising and inspirational journey. When I think Black Nativity, I can only think of Brian, my bro. Does this sound like a movie that you want to stand up and sing for?
No, not at all.
Is it because it's a musical or?
Yeah, I don't do musicals. I just don't. I'll download music if I want to hear singing. If I go to a movie, I want to watch a movie. Take me to a different place. I don't really care. There's a very, very small number of movies or musicals that I like, and I'm basically pretty much closed off to letting any more in.
You've hit your quota. You're good.
I'm full. Yeah, sorry.
Well, I do like musicals, and I still don't really have any desire to see it. It's not my kind of music. It's
spiritual music.
Yeah, there's a
you
lot.
Got enough of that as a kid.
Yeah,
it was shoved.
Lots of hymns. Yeah, the religious undertones. It's just not. It's just not something I want to see. It looks like it's trying too hard too.
I think I love the cast that's in it, so I mean, I'll probably see it at some point. I won't go to a theater probably to see this because same thing. I grew up with a lot of church music. I don't really want to have to pay for it. Mm-hmm. I'll go to church. How about that? And it's about better odds that I'll actually go to church. So.
I am not the target audience for this. I am not spiritual in any way, shape, form, or fashion. So this movie really doesn't hold any interest for me. I like the cast. I mean, Angela Bassett, she's just a fantastic actress and doing so well on American Horror Story. Forrest Whitaker is an actor that I'll watch in almost anything. And I think Jennifer Hudson is an amazing singer, but it's not a story that I care about, and it's certainly not... I am not inspired by these sorts of religious movies. So
I actually think it would be safer for the audience if you don't go, because
probably
you could catch in fire.
Probably the whole theater might burn down if I tried to. Well, that's what happened in the last couple of churches I went into. All right, moving on. All right, next up. We're going to be talking about Jason Statham's 17, also known as Homefront.
Make that a musical. I'll see that.
Jason Statham stars as a former DEA agent moving his family to a quiet town where he soon tangles with a local meth drug lord played by James Franco. That's right. Guess who's one of the screenwriters on this?
I know who.
Sylvester Stallone.
Yeah, I wrote this movie. Yeah.
So, Sly, you participated in this film It's got one of the best action actors working today in Jason Statham. It's also got Winona Ryder, as I said before, James Franco, Kate Bosworth, Clancy Brown. God damn it, this almost looks like a movie I would want to see. What do you say, Sly? Should we go see it?
Yeah, it's my fucking movie. You should go see it. Yo. Hey, Franco, he's pretty good. I wish he would have
What
catch
about you,
me.
Aaron? What do you think?
I want to see it because Jason Statham's in it, and I want to see what the hell James Franco is thinking. Because it just seems like such a backward step for him. To be in 2 mega hits this year. I mean, he was in Oz, and he was the lead. This is the end. I mean, he's pretty much the lead. Now he's playing second fiddle to Jason Statham. That just doesn't...
Well, hell, he played second fiddle to Selena Gomez.
I was going to say, who does he play top fiddle to?
Oz, this is the end. I mean, he's got a career. This seems to me what happens after your career. And I'm not knocking Jason Statham. I love his movies, but they're not exactly making big bucks.
But this one doesn't
So
look...
what about Samuel L. Jackson? I mean, he does movies like The Avengers and Tarantino
Samuel L.
stuff.
Jackson does
and then
everything.
He plays in a movie called Arena, which you can't find anywhere but on Netflix.
Samuel L. Jackson has a policy where if you send him a script, he will accept it.
So
And I think Franco has the same
so
policy.
maybe James Franco has got the same policy.
I think he does. It just surprises me. It's just...
Well, that likes to get paid.
I think he likes to play these roles that, that are really weird and out there and strange. I think that's why he took Spring Breakers. I think that's why he took this. I don't think he just wants to sit around playing the same fucking guy in every movie. And a lot of actors are content to just play the same dude over and over. He wants to do something different all the time. And I mean, hell, he was in General Hospital for a while. I got to give the guy props. He goes to lengths to do weird shit.
Oh no, I'm giving him props. I actually think it's cool. It's just odd, and I want to see what about this role attracted him. Because on the surface, it just looks like hey, he's a bad guy meth dealer. There's got to be something more to it for him to jump on board. I would think. I
don't think it's fair to call it Statham 17 either, because I think this one looks a little bit toned down as far as the type of action. In your typical Jason Statham movie, he's on the offensive the entire time. This movie, he's more on the defensive. He's there to protect his daughter and that kind of thing.
Look at you. You work for their PR department.
Not at all. This interests me more than any of those 16 previous Statham movies.
Really?
Number one, to see James Franco. I still don't buy him being a badass. But
I think he could do it.
It's just not. It doesn't look like a typical run and gun movie to me. It seems like it has more purpose. And
I honestly like Stallone when he writes these kinds of films. I will actually go see it. I can't wait for really badly named characters because he has a habit of picking very cheesy names.
Now, though, when do we think he will do a commercial where he performs the splits between two trucks?
The Jean-Claude Van Damme commercial is the most awesome thing I've seen in forever.
That was pretty cool.
I don't know. Did you see the Channing Tatum send-up of it? That was pretty funny.
Well, the thing I like most about that commercial, and sorry we're getting off topic, but is that there's no special effects. That's all legitimate. They actually verify he did all that. He was actually on those trucks, being crazy man. Love him.
That is crazy. Mm-hmm. All right, well, getting back on topic. Next up, we're going to be discussing the wintry Disney delights of Frozen. Fearless optimist Anna teams up with Kristoff in an epic journey, encountering Everest-like conditions and a hilarious snowman named Olaf in a race to find Anna's sister Elsa, whose icy powers have trapped the kingdom in eternal winter. Now, this stars the vocal talents of Kristen Bell, Josh Gad, Alan Tudyk, and a bunch of other people whose names I really don't recognize. Scotty, it's animated, and they're singing. Are you going to be in the theater?
Probably not in the theater, probably DVD, but I still think this looks really... I think it looks like old school Disney movies. Even though it's modern animation, it looks like it's... that snowman looks so freaking funny, too. He just... I want to see it, but not in a theater.
Really? I thought you really wanted to see it. In the theater.
Nah, probably not. Probably a DVD rental. I mean, that's not a knock on the movie. It's just it's not the Muppets. It's not Finding Nemo. You know, it's nothing that I have to see right away. but I do like holding true to Disney films with the music. And that kind of a little bit of slapstick humor, a little bit of just looking at the trailer every time the commercials come on, I just kind of get a smile on my face. Like, that looks kind of cute.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same thing. It looks cute. It looks entertaining. I'd like to check it out at some point, but I don't know if I'm going to rush to the theater to see it. It's not. I don't really see a whole lot new or different. It just kind of looks like every other cute animated movie, I guess.
I'll be seeing it. I think it looks cute.
Well, I'll be right there with you because as much as I didn't think I would like Tangled, I loved Tangled. I've seen it easily 4 or 5 times. It is so much fun, and I can't imagine that this one will leave me wanting more. So yeah, I really do look forward to seeing Frozen, and nobody's more surprised by that than me. All right. Last up, and usually we save the best for last. It'll be up to you guys to tell me if you think this is so. Oldboy. Now, this is an adaptation of a Hong Kong film directed by Spike Lee, who I know is one of Aaron's absolute favorite directors. You sound like me. Obsessed with vengeance, a man sets out to find out why he was kidnapped and locked into solitary confinement for 20 years without reason. Now, this one stars Josh Brolin, Elizabeth Olsen, Brian's favorite actor, Samuel L. Jackson, who he just mentioned a minute ago, and Hannah Simone, who is so hot on the new girl. Oh, my God. Since this is the 4th film, I'll take the first whack at it. Well, that's a pun if you know the original film. I'm really curious how closely this one is going to hew to the original film.
Yep.
And if it is too close, I'm actually going to be disappointed.
Really?
That film exists. Okay, I don't need to be given that film again. Bring something new to it. Bring something different to it. And it's kind of like, the Walking Dead comic book versus the TV show. The comic book exists. I'm glad that the TV show didn't follow the books. It took its completely own path. I would like to see them kind of take their own path on this American adaptation, because the movie's already there. Let me see something new. Do you guys really want to see a really strict adaptation?
Yes. I do, because I understand there's an original source material for this, but nobody here has seen it.
Well, a lot of people have not seen it, yeah.
Right. I'm not saying nobody, but the vast majority of people have not seen this movie, have seen the original movie. Mm-hmm. They won't, simply because the first one is subtitled. I know people that will not watch a foreign film because they don't want to have to read the movie.
I don't usually like them myself.
And that's fine, but I watched this one because it was highly recommended. Absolutely loved it, and I want more people to see this type of movie, and not necessarily the way that ended. Like I like it, and I'm not going to give it away, but we get to movies like this, and we always go the safe route. Mm-hmm. And if they actually do this true to form, it's not a safe movie by any means, and it will disturb a lot of people. It disturbed me the first time I saw it, and I don't feel that often when I see a movie. And I want people to be exposed to things that make them think outside the box. And I think this is a movie that might do it, and I really, really hope it sticks a lot to it.
I won't be disappointed or overjoyed if it stays strictly to the other movie. I got to think, though, that Spike Lee is enough of an artist, though, to make some sort of at least subtle changes and kind of put his own stamp on it. So I'm looking forward to it, though. I think it's going to look good with a, I guess, American Hollywoodized, look about it.
Some of those shots look pretty similar.
I don't feel that Spike Lee's that original, personally. I've said it before. I'm not a fan of his style. I think he's overrated. I'm not. People that are fans of him, good for you. I hope you enjoy the movie. I want to see the movie because of the movie. So as long as it's close to the original, I can appreciate it because then I have an American version that I would watch that more often than I would a subtitled film. Mm-hmm. I do want the same ending because the ending for me is what made the movie. So to me, I don't see how you make this movie without keeping to that ending. Mm-hmm. So
I don't think they'll do the original ending.
I think it'd be very hard for American
I think
audiences.
America's not ready for that ending.
Yeah.
But I still hope they do it.
Me too.
Yeah.
But I will tell you that if Spike Lee makes this material and actually makes it even remotely similar to the strength of the original, I will give him his fair props. So I'm looking forward to it, very much looking forward to it. I just don't want him to put too much of his personal touch on it because I'm just not a fan. I haven't seen a whole lot of his that made me think I got to see a Spike Lee movie.
I really hope they stick to the original. I just want to see. I want to hear Aaron talk positively about Spike Lee.
I would love to, man. I liked Inside Man. That's really about it.
That is good.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, of these 4 films coming out November 27th, Black Nativity, Homefront, Frozen, and Oldboy, which ones will you guys be in the theater to see? Brian?
Oldboy.
Scotty?
Same, Oldboy.
Aaron?
Oldboy.
I'm going to go with Frozen.
You dick.
I will probably... I'm going to see them both, Frozen and Oldboy. I think they both look fantastic. But Frozen is a heart warmer, and God damn it, this cold heart of mine just needs a little warming.
Aw. You are a little sappy.
I am. All right, well, there you go. 3-1.
Well, you can listen and subscribe on iTunes or Stitcher Radio app. Give us a thumbs up if you do, or through our RSS feed at thehollywoodoutsider.com. There's a new episode every Thursday.
What's this movie?
What's this movie? Each week, we play ours or a listener-suggested clip from a movie. And if you think you know what the clip is, email us at feedback@thehollywoodoutsider.com. Tweet us or Facebook us the answer, and next week we'll give you a proper ho shout-out. Last week's answer was Brian's choice, and it was The Untouchables. And as Marcus Shelton wanted to point out, how many clues do you have to give in one episode for people to know what that one was?
The one wasn't intentional, though.
One wasn't intentional. But it actually does say Elliot Ness in the clip. I think it's Elliot or Elliot Ness, one of the two.
That was a big help for me.
Was it?
Yes.
Those that got it correct were Stephen White, Jacob Bahi. I hope I'm saying that right, so please let me know if I'm saying it wrong. Bahi or Bay? Boo. I'm going to cover every base. Boy. Jim Stein, Marcus Shelton, Sandy Koki, Sean McGuire, Sue Stout, Doug Clayton. Thank you, guys. This week, it is Justin's turn. If you think you know it, email us at feedback@thehollywoodoutsider.com. Guess it correctly. Next week, we'll give you a proper shout-out. Here's your clip.
What's your problem, son?
How do you mean?
When I held up my fingers, what was your first impulse?
Well, it was stupid.
Just tell me.
To pick my own finger.
Aha. That was the correct answer. You lack faith in yourself.
Now let's... And by the way, if you got that one right, we are impressed because that I think is a hard clip. So
it's not that hard.
We'll find out. We'll find out next week, won't we?
I have faith.
Now let's go to the couch. We talk about TV and home video news. I'm pretty sure DC heard us because we talked about it, and they are giving. You just shut up. They are giving the Flash its own pilot instead of making it part of Arrow, which was the original plan. Does that make you happy, Brian, to think that Flash is getting its own series sooner?
A little bit. He's still going to be introduced as Barry Allen in the Arrow series. I think he's going to be in 2 or 3 episodes. But where they were going to bring him back and introduce him, with all the red tights and everything, later on in the season, they're going to scratch that plan and give him his own pilot. So I'm not sure of the estimated time that this is supposed to air, but I'm kind of glad to see that the DC TV universe or DC, TV/movie universe is starting to kind of come together with the Justice League starting to form a little bit.
That's one thing that I'm curious about, because if they're eventually going to do that Justice League movie, how would a Flash TV series affect that?
And I don't know. See, I just started watching the Arrow series. I'm about probably 3, maybe 4 episodes into it, and I haven't been very impressed with it. There had a lot of questions, and a lot of stuff just didn't make sense on, I guess, some of the practicality of the series, but it's starting to
Come together.
Yeah, there's been a couple of clues to where some of the stuff's starting to get explained a little bit, and I'm like, all right, so I'm gonna keep going with it. And surprisingly, the first season it's like 20 or 25 episodes. It's
a full season, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm used to like 13, 16 episodes.
I know cable has spoiled us. It definitely has spoiled us.
Yeah, but
CW doesn't fuck around. They do full seasons.
Mm-hmm.
But it does feel like a CW show. Oh gosh.
Why is
a lot of music?
Yeah,
it's just it's almost like Noah. You know, it's just everybody is this chiseled jaws and you know, just I mean they're all handsome and pretty as fuck, and it's just kind of off-putting.
One of those shows where if you see somebody not attractive, the first thing you think is, well, they're going to be dead before the show's over.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So
it's like red shirting.
I feel like I'm watching like MTV or something.
It's a CW red shirt. Oh, that's funny. Well, we'll see what happens with that. Now, How I Met Your Mother, which we all thought was finally dead, is now getting its own spinoff called, you guessed it, How I Met Your Dad. So they're going to flip the script on it with a whole new concept. Should this be put down, or is this like something you want to see, Scott? You're a big fan of the show.
I am, but as far as I'm concerned, that well dried up several seasons ago.
Yeah, like season 1.
Oh God!
I'm so they just need to please stop. Just please stop. What's next? A sitcom set in Brian's neck of the woods called How I Met Your Uncle. I mean,
hey,
your uncle slash dad.
My dad, who's also my favorite uncle. Told me never marry a virgin. If she ain't
or
good
outside
enough
the
for
family.
If she ain't good enough for her own family, she ain't good enough for you.
That's right.
Here's the thing. What's kept this show going was the intrigue of meeting the mother, which they didn't introduce until this last season. Well,
okay.
You know, I don't think people would have hung on to those characters for that long without that mystery. You take that out of it, those characters become less interesting. By now, people are done with that. You start them over again with a new mystery, they're not going to fall for it again. That's 9 seasons that show has been on.
Is it that long?
This is the
God,
9th.
It's like going forever.
9, and I'm
9.
9.
9.
So I think it's a dumb idea. It's like remember how popular that 70s show was, and then they tried to make that 80s show.
The 80s show. Ugh.
I think it made like 3 episodes before
Joey?
they cut it.
Or Joey.
Joey.
God.
Boy, Justin, that's a lot of in one little section.
Well, by saying it's a spinoff, does that mean that it's going to contain some of the same characters?
They haven't said that yet. What they
said
said is the only thing that's going to be the same from the show is the bar. The McLaren's bar is going to be there. So
there's a chance the characters could come in and out.
They could, but they haven't said for sure. And if they did, it would probably be towards the end of that 9th season or something like that.
Oh my
Fuck
Lord.
this shit.
So what is it going to be like? Three's a crowd or something?
How I Met My Two Dads.
What? They're going to go to the Regal Beagle?
Well, on cooler news, they've been talking about it for a while, but now AMC is officially going forward with a Preacher pilot. I think this is awesome. What do you think, Justin?
Well, I really could not be happier. I know for a while they had talked about maybe doing a movie or something, but, you know, much like The Dark Tower, the Preacher comic book series is not made for a film. This is, if you're going to do it, you have to do it on television. And if you're going to do it on television, you have to do it on AMC, because Preacher, which sounds like a show that Scott's parents would have liked, is anything but something that, you know, really fundamentalist people would like. Because the story centers around this small town preacher named Jesse Custer, who, you know, he's a boozer and a sinner, but then one day he suddenly finds himself filled with this strange entity that's the result of a angel and a demon mating. And so he suddenly has these abilities like the Word of God, where he can tell people what to do and they have to do it. And, you know, his best friend is this woman who's now an assassin with this Irish vampire. It's got characters named Arseface in it. It is really explicit and pretty violent. So I think that AMC is the perfect place for it.
Absolutely.
Now they just have to find the right director and more so the right cast.
And you know what I wish they could do, but obviously they won't because he's too mad at AMC. But Frank Darabont, I think, would be perfect for this, personally. Because
Could be, yeah.
I think he could take that material and make it relatable to the real world instead of having such a comic book vibe. But obviously he won't work for AMC. But
I do find it interesting that if they do go through with this, then AMC would actually have 2 comic book based TV shows between The Walking Dead and this. You know, it kind of opens the door to maybe something like Why the Last Man, which I think would make a fantastic TV show. Not if you're a male actor, because there's just one of them. But, you know, hence the title. But still, there are a lot of comic book properties that aren't, you know, flights and tights, that are like this kind of storyline that I think would be wonderful on something like AMC. So we'll have to see. The Walking Dead has really kind of opened the door to these kinds of properties. I'm curious to see where it all goes.
And they're getting their new series, too. They're getting a second one for Walking Dead, which they announced was going to be a prequel.
Mm-hmm.
How that's going to work, no idea, but that's...
So is it The Walking Sick? The Walking Sniffles? Walking, not quite dead yet.
Almost there. They're walking around with defibrillators.
Oh, you'll be dead in a moment.
All right. Justin, did you see that? Almost Human. Tell us about Almost Human.
Oh, fucking hell. Almost Human is created by...
Put that on the poster.
Yeah, that should be put on the poster.
Fucking hell.
The Hollywood Outsiders. Fucking hell. It's good. This is created by J.A. Weinman, who also helped create Fringe, which is one of my favorite shows that has been on TV in quite some time. And it stars Carl Urban, Michael Ealy. It's really got a cast that's quite good. Lily Taylor is on it. Minka Kelly, who I've never watched a show she's been on, but now I kind of wish she had. But it's set, you know, in the not too distant future. Crime has run rampant across America, and to help augment the police force, they've created androids that every, you know, police officer has to be partnered with. And Carl Urban, you know, he's our usual crusty curmudgeon of a cop. After a botched raid, ends up going into a coma for a couple of years, and when he comes out, they want to give him one of these androids to be partnered with. He tries it, doesn't like it, pushes his partner out the car door, and ends up getting partnered up with Michael Ealy's character, who is a different type of android, who is designed to be more human-like and designed to have emotion, whereas the others are more about logic. It's a little bit of Blade Runner. It's a little bit of Star Trek. I think it is really, really well done. And I couldn't be happier with both Carl Urban and Michael Ealy's performances. I think that if this show has an audience and can keep it, I'm really excited about where it can go because it looks fantastic. And this is a show that I'm definitely going to be watching week after week.
Did anybody else see it or just Justin?
I did not, but I plan to.
Okay. Brian, did you see it?
No, I haven't.
Okay. The one question I had was Carl Urban, do they let him have a sense of humor? Because when he's just stoic, he's just okay. But when they let him have his sense of humor, he is fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, he's not cracking jokes constantly, but he definitely has a lot of sarcasm in his character. And he does get to spout off some pretty good lines. So, he's not forced to just be dry and bitter.
That's good.
He's not like Aaron.
Well, I've already seen that story. Scott, DVD and Blu-ray.
Okay, we're looking for the releases for November 26th. First up is Red 2. This is the sequel to the 2010 action comedy starring Bruce Willis, Mary Louise Parker, John Malkovich, and Helen Mirren. The sequel adds Sir Anthony Hopkins and Catherine Zeta-Jones to the mix. Aaron did see it. He did give it a $4.50 out of $10.
Yeah, it sucked.
That bad?
I thought it sucked. Good. Brian saw it too. Brian, what'd you think? What'd you give it? There you go.
Wow, I was actually kind of thinking.
I really liked the first one, so it's not like I didn't like the franchise.
Next up is The Canyons. Two things you need to know about this movie. Lindsay Lohan and a Metacritic score of 36 out of 100. That should pretty much sum that up. Getaway. That's all I'm going to say. Getaway. This is the thriller with Ethan Hawke and Selena Gomez, where a former race car driver gets a call from an anonymous person forcing him to go on a high-speed chase in order to save his wife. Aaron reviewed this on episode 108 and gave it a 450 out of 10 as well.
Yep.
Jobs, which is the Steve Jobs movie where Ashton Kutcher plays Steve Jobs. Unfortunately, none of us saw that. And lastly...
No, not unfortunately, sir.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I missed it, Bob.
Nice Office Space reference, nice. The Grandmaster, lastly, this is the story of a martial arts master, Ip Man, the man who
I
trained
thought I had something.
Bruce Lee.
Sorry, I thought that was a different.
Not the Grand Dragon.
Right.
Ooh, yeah. Hit me with that unknown shit. Flashback.
With that, we will move on to our flashback segment. This is where once every other week or so, one of us hosts brings to the table a little-known or obscure film that we hope you, the listeners, as well as the other fellow hosts, would give a chance. This week it's Brian's turn. Brian, what do you have?
All right. There's actually been a lot more talk than I kind of anticipated with this episode about DC Comics properties, and like I said, kind of mentioned earlier how they're expanding and kind of getting closer to the formation of this Justice League movie. But one of the best comic book movies that I can think of that was made before the year 2000, and pretty much maybe the only good one, is The Swamp Thing.
Ooh, okay.
Dr. Alec, it's from like 1980 or maybe even earlier. Dr. Alec Holland is trying to create this hybrid plant/animal that can adapt and thrive in any condition. And basically he kind of becomes one with his creation, and he's transformed into the Swamp Thing, this kind of plant-ish man monster. His nemesis is Dr. Arcane, who tries desperately to obtain this formula for his own evil plans.
I thought you were going to say it was Roundup.
And but of course he's ultimately challenged by his former employee, the Swamp Thing. So if for no other reason, Adrienne Barbeau is smoking hot in this movie.
And if you grew up in the 80s, we called her Adrienne Bubo.
Yep.
Because they were always out.
Yeah, she's nice. You can actually rent it or buy it on Amazon, and it's on Netflix, but it's the DVD, it's not on streaming yet. So.
Oh, gotcha. From the outside in, now we're talking about Thanksgiving, because it's almost turkey time. Christmas always gets all the attention. It's really not fair. They have a billion movies that are dedicated to the Christmas holiday. I want to know, why do you guys think Thanksgiving gets shortchanged every year? Because isn't that supposed to be the one where it is actually all about family?
Kinda.
Why just kinda?
Well, I think there's a lot of reasons why Thanksgiving kind of gets short shrift. One, how do you compete with Christmas? Mm-hmm. I mean, if you're in between between Halloween and Christmas, it's like being that middle Jonas brother. You're not as pretty, you're not as talented as the other two, and you're always going to get, that time in the shadows, because the other two are taking up too much of that limelight. I wouldn't be surprised though if also there's not a certain amount of, and I could be just being Justin the liberal, but likely. It wouldn't surprise me if there's still not, if people don't still have maybe some issues with Thanksgiving and the whole idea of, America, our forefathers coming over to this country and meeting with the Native Americans who were here. And sure, when you look at the posters, it all looks nice as our little pilgrims are sitting side by side with the natives and sharing a meal, but that's not how it went. And there's some pretty bad shit went down. So it wouldn't surprise me at all if there's not a cultural kind of a little bit of distance maybe that we put toward Thanksgiving, whether we realize it or not. I don't know. I could be making up shit that's not there.
Well, that's probably true. But we did sit down with them. It just apparently we poisoned their food and had like military surround them as soon as it was over.
Gave them, smallpox blankets and things like that.
I don't know. I don't think I don't think Thanksgiving is quite the Howie Doro of holidays. There,
What? The Howie what?
he's a member of the Backstreet Boys,
Oh, thank you.
and that's my point. It's not exactly a
Good point, then, because I didn't know what the hell you were talking about.
yeah. I mean, he's not one of the guys that you first think of when you think it's
There's a Backstreet Boy named Howie.
exactly. And for the record, I had to look it up because I wanted to get the most obscure one I could find. So.
It's okay. You had to look up from your bed.
So I don't know. I think Christmas, it's built up as kids, of course, like I say, with the presents and all that stuff, but there's that excitement about Christmas morning. You've got Santa Claus, you've got the cookies and all the sneaking around and everything. And Thanksgiving is, when you boil it down, it's 2 hours of sitting around eating food.
I'm watching football.
Yeah. Well, and of course the inevitable nap that follows also, but for the most part, it's really just a couple of hours. So once you're done, you're kind of done.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot to it. It's not one of the most exciting holidays. There's not like a gift exchange, or not that that's the most important thing with holidays. But there's not fireworks.
Yeah,
there's not. It's just it's more or less a meal. Mm-hmm. It's become a Hallmark holiday and an excuse for people to get together with their families, which is a good thing. It's not just a. I say Hallmark holiday, not like you give cards at Thanksgiving, but it's become less about what actually happened, obviously, and
more about shopping,
more about resting before the big shopping day.
I actually agree to a certain extent with Justin. I think it's the actual historical portion of Thanksgiving is a horrible, horrible story, and nobody should be celebrating that. But I don't think that's really what it's been about. Just like every holiday, a lot of them started from bad origins. Even Halloween came from a bad time and became a fun holiday.
What do you mean, even Halloween?
Hey, man, it's like it's based on a pagan. That's pretty pagan. Let's celebrate the devil.
But we don't talk about that.
Let's not get into that, Jesus hater. But Thanksgiving is really supposed to be about spending time with your family and being thankful for what you have and all that sort of thing. And all that seems to be for me anymore is about shopping. And I don't know how you make a movie about that without it being like Sex in the City.
Jingle All the Way.
Christmas.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. See, everything has to do with Christmas. And even when they talk about Thanksgiving, it's really about the holiday before Christmas. And
right.
I don't know. I think Thanksgiving should have a couple. There are a few good Thanksgiving movies, but why it gets such short shrift, I have no idea. Even Easter, I think, has more movies about it than Thanksgiving does.
Well, but Easter doesn't have to compete with other holidays around it.
That's true. It is sandwiched in the middle of the two most fun ones.
Mm-hmm. It's like a kickoff to spring, and there's nothing on either side of it.
Yeah, that's true. Like you said, January sucks for everything. Yeah. Now, are there any good movies about? Speaking of hippie Justin's ideals, are there any good movies about the actual historical accuracy of Thanksgiving? I couldn't think of a single one.
I couldn't either.
I even tried looking some up. I couldn't find anything.
Man, white people just want to bury the truth. Is that what you're saying?
No, it's not about burying the truth. Apparently, there's not enough information there to to make a movie about it. Yes, I don't know. It's kind of a good idea. Hey, maybe this is one of those rare original ideas that Hollywood could pick up and run with.
Yeah, it would be a controversial movie.
But I think that's a story that would be interesting to watch. Yeah. The actual, whatever the true story. Everybody has the opinions.
Only if Mel Gibson stars and writes it and directs it.
Oh, no. We don't let him go near minorities anymore. He is banned. What do you guys think makes for a good Thanksgiving movie? Is it just the time of year, or is it a theme? What would make one?
I just think having movies based around that holiday would be a fresher spin on movies. Like Justin said, it's always the easy route to go to Christmas or go to even 4th of July, any other holiday. You don't see any. So few movies that I can recall take place around that holiday. So I don't know. Why not do a movie around Turkey Day just for a change of pace?
I like Thanksgiving. I feel like it gets robbed every year. I mean, sure, there's some bad blood and whatnot, but it's a nice family holiday where you sit around, you see family you haven't seen for a while, and you don't have the present crap. Because at Thanksgiving, this is why I like Thanksgiving probably a little bit more than Christmas, is that when your family gets together, they do get together just to see each other. Mm-hmm. Where at Christmas, everybody's thinking about what they're going to get or how much they spent, or the ungrateful little shit that was bitching about what they did get, that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. And Thanksgiving, it just seems to me like it's more of the family holiday, so that's one that I would like to see more movies made at that time.
It's also become
it's less about stuff.
It's also become a lot more about football. I mean, it's always like football's like what everybody does. Even people that don't watch football on Thanksgiving.
That's true. And I don't know, Justin, do you watch football on Thanksgiving?
No, I used to, but I don't watch sports much anymore. It just makes me too goddamn mad. I think the reason you don't see more Thanksgiving movies is because a lot of what Thanksgiving is about, familyness together, a lot of that is replicated also in Christmas. And I think if you have to choose between, Eli Manning or Peyton, you go with Peyton.
Wow.
If we want to do the whole football reference,
look at that.
You go with Christmas.
I'm
you
impressed
don't
you
go
got it
with
right.
the shittier younger brother. Football just makes me mad. Fucking Cowboys.
For me, it's just I really kind of think Thanksgiving is one of those holidays where it can be a reason to do one of those family comedies or the family feel good movie or whatever. Make a freaking depressing one for all I care. It's one of those that it's a holiday that brings people together. So why not? Why not center it around Thanksgiving? I put in a good message about it. It's just, I don't know. I think, with a couple little themes, maybe feel good stuff about family or sticking together or, kind of working through differences and awkward stuff, then, why not? So.
All right, well, this might be a little bit hard, but what are your favorite...
That's what she said.
Wow. We're really going to just bury that into the ground, aren't we?
I'll kick that dead horse back up into walking.
What are either your favorite Thanksgiving films or movies that you like to watch at Thanksgiving?
Well, there's only two movies that I could think of personally, and I'm pretty sure that at least one of these is going to be on everybody's lists, maybe both. And strangely enough, both of them were written by John Hughes. One of them he directed, one of them he didn't. But Dutch and Planes, Trains, and Automobiles are the two films that I instantly think of when I think of Thanksgiving. And it's because it's about families trying to get home in time for Thanksgiving. And I think that's really one of the things that Thanksgiving has over Christmas. Whenever I think of holiday travel, I usually think more about Thanksgiving than I do Christmas. So if you're going to make a movie about Thanksgiving, then maybe a good way to do it is the way John Hughes has done it. Make it about trying to get home, be with your family, the struggles of being away from them, the struggles of dealing with all the a-holes in the airport or the people that you're going to travel with on the road, that may be doing a little pre-holiday drinking of old grandpa's cough medicine. But yeah, Dutch and Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, to me, those are the quintessential Thanksgiving movies.
I want you to go in your fucking keyboard and get my fucking car right fucking now.
Fucking now.
Oh,
so God, good. that one scene alone is worth seeing. That movie.
I love it on TV because get my and my.
Where are your hands? Between two pillows? Those are pillows!
What about you, B?
Planes, Trains, and Automobiles is that, as far as I'm concerned, is pretty much the only real Thanksgiving movie. Sin of a Woman.
Hooah!
Hooah! That's one that kind of comes to mind too. But hey, FYI, even though it's considered a Christmas movie, mm-hmm. Miracle on 34th Street centers around the Macy's at Thanksgiving Day Parade.
Yeah, good call.
Yeah.
So, suck it.
You say suck it. All right, take that one. Scott?
Didn't Grumpy Old Men take place over Thanksgiving?
Yep.
Did it?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. Well, there you go. Bam, there's one.
That's
I love that movie.
Good call, Scott.
It's a really funny movie. Why don't you pull your bottom lip over your head and swallow? Love that line. That's about all. That and obviously Planes, Trains, Automobiles. That movie is so funny.
I think that's everyone. Son-in-Law. I love Son-in-Law. And people probably don't either remember it or want to, but there's a time when Pauly Shore was
Carla
funny.
Gugino.
What's that?
Carla Gugino.
Oh yeah, Carla Gugino was fantastically gorgeous. Still is, actually.
That's the one where he
Certainly
mowed
is.
his name in the field or something.
Yeah. And he was just like, he's like wheezing the juice, and he comes back to like a small town, where is it, some farm in
Can I call you Dad?
Iowa or wherever it was. And and he's just, it was back when Pauly Shore was actually funny. I mean, there was a short time. It was like a week or whatever, but he was really funny for a short time. And
I
that's,
think you missed it.
That was pre-Biodome, I assume.
yes, that's before Stephen Baldwin ruined Pauly Shore. I like that movie. I still like that movie. I watch it every once in a while. I mean, you see Lane Smith, who's a respected character actor, and he actually said, wheezing the juice. And that's just, you don't hear that kind of thing anymore. Well, I love that movie. Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. I would say Brokeback Mountain as well, because there are a lot. One of the most pivotal scenes takes place on Thanksgiving. So for me, that kind of counts. And
I saw a meme the other day about Brokeback Mountain. It had a picture of Heath Ledger and Gyllenhaal like hugging or whatever on there. And it said it's still a better romance than Twilight.
Indeed.
Gave me a little chuckle.
And some of our listeners, we asked them, are there any good Thanksgiving movies, and also what are they thankful for? Mr. Anyone said Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Stephen White, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, Dutch, and who could forget Eli Roth's Thanksgiving trailer from Grindhouse? Good call, man. I still want that movie to get made. He said, I'm still waiting for that to get made, huh? And I'm thankful for you four wonderful hoes who make my Thursdays great. Aww. Vicky Calgaro says Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Isn't Steve Martin trying to get home for that holiday? Great movie. Brad Peterson says Thanksgiving. That is
Thanksgiving?
Thanksgiving, yeah.
Gobble, gobble, motherfucker.
Such a bad movie. He's like, oh, wait, you said good. And I am thankful the doctor said this rash isn't from reading 50 Shades of Grey.
Oh.
There's an article floating around the net that there were some library books that were found with traces of herpes and cocaine.
Yeah.
It happens. Greg Swiger, Sam Raimi's Spider-Man had arguably its funniest scene when Macy Gray sings during the Thanksgiving parade in New York.
Oh, that's so true.
Touche.
And try to say goodbye, not joke.
That's your Macy Gray impression?
Oh, she's awful, dude. I don't know who told her she can sing.
You got me. Sean McGuire, I'm very thankful for movies. I'm thankful for all the fun they bring. I'm thankful for the 2 hours of getting lost somewhere else. Oh, and I'm thankful for popcorn. And Mike Helgestad said Sarah Helgestad likes Elf. Is that a Thanksgiving movie? It's a Christmas movie.
No.
Oh, you trying to sneak one by us, Mike. And I like the Lord of the Rings trilogy. But those are probably movies that he likes to watch at Thanksgiving. So that's fine.
Right. Oh, yeah, we didn't go over that. Movie I like to watch at Thanksgiving because...
Well, I did ask that, but you just didn't
I
answer
skipped it.
Too late. Moving on.
All right.
No, go ahead. What is it, Scott?
No, I mean, like, I'm one of those people that I don't do anything Christmas at all until Thanksgiving is over. I don't put up decorations. I don't listen to music. I don't do anything until that. So, for whatever reason, as a kid, we always watched Home Alone on Thanksgiving after football was over.
Okay.
And it was just a good family memory on
You still
Thanksgiving.
do it?
No. I don't really see my family too much except for my brother. So, but I
You just go around smacking your own face, looking in the mirror.
So,
No! And before we move on, each one of us, give me 3 things that you are thankful for, and one of them has to be movie or TV related. Brian, you go first.
I just kind of stayed with everything being movie and TV related here.
Oh, you don't want to get too sentimental? Is that what you're saying?
No.
Just in case your wife listens.
I got a
and you
heart of
sit around?
stone, baby. I'm thankful for Marvel movies. What they're doing is just fantastic. I think they're on the right track, except for that horrible S.H.I.E.L.D. TV series. I'm thankful for access to so many options for watching. Well, I guess not only movies but TV. You know, you got Netflix and Hulu and Amazon Prime and cable, Blu-rays. There's so many different ways you can get your fix. And Peter Jackson / Lord of the Rings, that first trilogy is just awesome. And of course, the Hobbit is pending, so
It's pending.
it's pending.
You got to see how it plays out first.
Yeah, but it's off to a good start.
Fair enough. Scott?
And Benedict Cumberbatch.
I'm thankful for my man cave. Now, you guys talk all the time how you like to go to the theater because that's like your place to escape.
Mm-hmm.
My man cave is where I escape. I love going down to my basement, my comfy leather couch.
Putting on your gimp suit.
Even better, a warm
Pulling
cat.
out the lotion.
Warm cat on my lap while I enjoy my...
Sorry, Scott. I'm sorry.
It's all right. I laugh all you want. I like having a warm cat on my lap while I enjoy my 52-inch LCD surround sound, couple of craft beers.
I like a warm cat in my lap. Oh, dude, cut that shit out.
Nope. Dirty little bastard.
So my first is my man cave. That's my entertainment-related one. For my other two, I actually went a little bit more sentimental. I didn't realize you were going to all do movie stuff, but I am going to get a little...
Brian is one person.
I am going to get a little personal. I am thankful for my wife, and I'm not saying that just because she's listening, but...
but it doesn't hurt.
It doesn't hurt. But 2012 was really rough for the two of us. We almost didn't make it, being perfectly honest. And thanks to her perseverance and dedication to our marriage, where others, including myself, might have jumped ship, we pulled through because she refused to give up. To top it off, she supported me for 6 months while I was doing my student teaching and was unemployed during all that. So, and even though I've got an insatiable video game habit, she still pulled through for that. So I'm thankful for everything that she's done for me.
Go ahead. Who's going to be the asshole that makes a joke now?
I thought he was going to say, I'm thankful for Xbox One.
That's what he said in his head.
Don't have it yet. I can't be thankful for it. Lastly, I'm thankful.
That's very sweet, Scott.
I'm thankful for my job. You guys might not know how extraordinarily lucky I am to have the job where I'm at, because it's borderline unheard of for a brand new graduate to get a job at all, much less a very nice school where I am and a principal that has a passion for education like I've never seen. So I'm 2 months in, and I hope to be there for the rest of my career, and I mean that sincerely. Everything fell together for me to get this job, and I am super, super thankful that I'm there. So
better make sure they don't listen to the show.
Yeah.
What about you? Oh, wait, I'm next. Shoot. I'm thankful for Indiana Jones. He really is he helped me get through some rough years. Escapism is something that helped me quite a bit. I'm very thankful for my, I could say my wife, my kids, my family, and everything else, but specifically my mother. She is really the only reason I am anything at all.
Well, yeah.
So, I mean, not just because of birth, which definitely helped, but just in terms of everything about me, some of the nicer things that I do, nicer things that I think. All the nice parts of me are from my mother, and I'm just every day thankful that she raised me and did what she needed to do, sacrifices and whatnot. And on a less personal note, imdb.com. God bless you.
That's true. I perused that.
Seriously, that has saved me from so many humiliations playing CNET with Brian that I cannot describe.
It's one of those two, and I'm watching a movie, and like an animated movie, and I'm like, where's that voice, or who's that actor? Where have I seen him before? And I'll reach for the phone, and she'll be like, no! Give me 2 minutes. Let me figure it out first.
Absolutely. I had to do the same thing with this last episode of The Walking Dead. One of the characters in there, I was like, where do I know this girl from? And come to find out, she used to play on the unit on CBS.
Yes. And lastly, of course, I am very thankful for my wife and my kids especially. They have turned out to be pretty fantastic. When they didn't always seem like they were headed that way. So I'm not picking on who it is. The one of you. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
No, you're not.
Because if they both listen, they're both going to think it's them. Justin?
Well, first I'd say I'm thankful for all of the doctors and medical professionals who have saved my wife's life. Earlier this year she was diagnosed with cancer, but they wouldn't have known that if they hadn't discovered some tumors in her uterus. And it was only because all of them worked so hard and continue to work so hard that she's still alive and I'm really thankful that they've all worked as hard as they have to keep her with me. So I can't thank them enough for keeping my wife with me. I'd like to thank all of the people who have read my books or listened to the audio versions and have reached out to let me know what they thought of them. Luckily, most people seem to enjoy them, but it's rare for someone to reach out when they like something. It's usually only when you hate something that you actually get up the energy to open your mouth. But a lot of people have dredged up that energy for something positive towards me, and I'm just thankful that they're all there and enjoying what I put out so that I can keep doing it. And lastly, I want to say I'm thankful for fucking J.J. Abrams. We have to do one that's TV or movie related. Well, this fucker is both. I mean, if it wasn't for him, of course, Lost, but wouldn't have Fringe, wouldn't have Alias, wouldn't have Almost Human. He did Super 8, which was phenomenal. I loved Mission Impossible 3. I think the 2 Star Trek movies that he's done have been phenomenal. And because he is in charge of Episode 7, not only am I more hopeful for what's to come, but I think that the trust and respect that geekdom has for him, Star Wars is cool again. There was a long time when it wasn't, especially when George did the prequels. But I think because of Abrams and Walt Disney, Disney, not Walt, he's fucking dead. Unless they dredged him out of the ice. Because of them, Star Wars is now kind of cool again. And I'm glad to see that, because the shit it took for years was sad. And it's not taking that anymore. So thank you, J.J. Abrams.
And also thanks to everybody listening. We all are thankful for that.
Mm-hmm.
And Make a Ho See It. That's where sometimes when we're going to wait until it comes naturally. But then there's a movie that comes up and we're like, we can't believe you've seen it. So that we make them see it the following week. But
because it'll all be for me.
Yeah, well, hey, whoever it is. But rather than trying to force it down every week. But one we're
not going to pick on Scotty all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
Just most of the time.
Just most of the time.
Right.
Now, last week we asked Justin to finally watch Boondock Saints. You finally watched it. You don't have to describe what it's about, because if you haven't seen it, what the hell's wrong with you? What did you think of Boondock Saints?
Well, I went through some ups and downs with this movie, because I really went into it expecting something grittier, darker, something a bit more action-packed. And for about the first half of the movie, I was like, what the fuck am I seeing? It's funnier than I thought it would be, which threw me off. There wasn't as much action as I thought there would be. But once I kind of accepted the movie for what it was and then just kind of joined in with the fun, I had a lot of fun with it. Willem Dafoe, I don't know what the fuck he was smoking or what he was on when he did this thing, but he is chewing up the scenery and doing a really good job. I liked, Sean Patrick Flannery. His Irish accent is so much better than Norman Reedus, who we all love, is on The Walking Dead. But in this film, his accent is just abysmal. I mean, that is not Irish. I could do a better Jamaican Irish whatever than he did. But it's a funny movie, and it's entertaining. And by the end of it, I was really glad that I watched it. I can fully understand why people are fans of it. My only question now, though, is how Billy Connolly is related to them, considering he's Scottish and they're supposed to be Irish. But I guess, somebody flew to one of the other countries. I'm not quite sure how that works out. But anyway, it's a really entertaining film. And seeing that cat get fucking blasted was
that's so awesome. So awesome. Oh.
I swear that that TV show, The League, Rafi gets his inspiration from Roscoe in that movie.
I wouldn't. Yeah, that sounds about right.
When he tells
Rocco?
that joke, or Rocco, I'm sorry, not
Rocco.
Roscoe. When
Roscoe Peak.
when he's in that guy's office and he tells him to tell him a joke. Tell me a joke.
Oh, that's so good.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Now, is the Boondock Saints 2 any good?
It's not bad. It's actually a little bit more action than
I liked
the first
it.
one.
I mean, a lot of people didn't like it.
It's fucking horrible.
Whoa! Why do you say that, sir?
First of all, Sean Patrick Flannery has got like the worst facelift ever.
Yeah,
he looks like Joan Rivers.
He didn't look good.
Sorry, it was. I'm sorry, it was.
Why did you not like it besides the ugly face?
It was just one of those that just it came out way too long after the first one.
10 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just felt like somebody was just trying to like, hey, I broke into Hollywood with this great movie, everybody loves it, and I've run out of steam with anything else, so I'm going back to this.
Fair enough, man. All right, well, let's wrap up the show. We've got some emails real quick. And also Facebook.
Do we not need to assign a new make-a-ho see it?
No, we're going to wait and we'll just do it naturally. Okay. So the next time we come up and one of our hoes has not seen something, or somebody here can't believe that somebody hasn't seen it, let us know and we'll make them watch it.
I'm afraid to say I haven't seen something anymore.
Well, I guess we're going to see how ballsy you really are. Like us on Facebook. If you like us on Facebook, we'll mention you on the next week's show. Mike Helgestad and Casey Lindsley. So thanks, guys, for liking us. And you can go to facebook.com/The Hollywood Outsider, like our Facebook page, and we'll mention you. Emails. Justin, you got the first one.
All right, our first email is from Ashley. She says, well, guys, after countless months of anticipation and then searching theaters like a crazy person, I finally saw it. Blue is the warmest color. As a French film based on a graphic novel entitled Blue Angel. In its simplest form, it tells the story of the passionate love between Adele, a shy high school girl, and Emma, an artsy college student. And she includes their names, but I cannot. One of them is Greek and the other one is French, and I would just slaughter their name pronunciations, so we'll just leave it at the character names. Usually when anticipating a movie, as I was for Blue is the warmest color, there's no chance it will live up to my expectations. But I was thoroughly surprised just how much I enjoyed the movie. Let me start off by saying it's flawed. There is no doubt about it. But I think the only flaw is the length. At 3 hours, it was extremely bloated. Basically, every scene could have been cut in half. I know what you're thinking. Even the sex scenes?
What?
Yes. Yes. Even the sex scenes needed to be cut. Fair warning, folks. This movie is French and rated NC-17, so it's graphic. I was pressed against my seat because I couldn't believe what they were showing. Aaron, it puts shame to shame.
That's saying something, because damn.
But the acting was phenomenal. I truly believed their love, longing, and despair. I was literally exhausted afterwards because of the amount of feeling I did during the film. Well, shit, now she's going to make me say their names. Léa Seydoux and Adele Exarchopoulos. Fuck, I'm so sorry, guys.
Just say those
Ladies.
fucking actors are flawless.
Yeah, those actresses are both flawless. We'll be seeing more of them in American movies. At 3 hours, I give it 7.5 out of $10. But if it had been cut to 2 hours, I would have given it a strong $8.50. The acting was that good. Love you guys, Ashley.
Brian? And that sounds like an interesting movie. We'll have to check that out.
All right, this one's from Sue. She says, sorry for my late addition to the guns on film topic, but best shootout, the Boondock Saints, the scene where the Saints take out the creepy mob, hitman, and friends, and then face off with Il Duce. Very cool. I loved how Smecker steps right into the scene. I'm really interested to hear Justin's thoughts on the film. You just heard him. I'm hoping he liked it. Immensely quotable, that movie. Most realistic shootout, Hank versus Tuco in Breaking Bad. They nailed it.
Yeah,
that scene gives me knots in my stomach and gives me an adrenaline dump. Okay. 13 of the 16 movie posters in my movie room, have firearms on them. I never really made note of that until I listened to last week's episode. I don't know what it means about me or the culture we live in. Probably nothing good. I've decided not to think too deeply about it because America. Happy Thanksgiving, boys. Here's to turkey, football, and a good nap. Sue.
And
how cool is it that she has 16 movie posters?
Yeah.
That's pretty freaking awesome, is what it is. And also, apparently that's who I'm calling if I get in some trouble. Because I think she could fuck some shit up. Scotty?
All right, we got a tweet from Tammy. She says, I had no desire to see Maleficent and sadly didn't know what it was, didn't know what it was about, but when I saw the trailer, I was in. # I'm a hoe. We've also got Doug, who writes in and says, the clip was from The Untouchables. I was lost until Bob said Elliot Ness. Think I'm rewatching this one this week. Nice one. I seem to remember a time when the correct answer got I'm a Hotees. Oh well. Keep at it, you SOBs. Doug.
Yeah, we'll be giving a few away come December. So
Yeah. Greedy ass.
in the spirit of the holiday.
Just like everybody else, we only give away free shit at Christmas.
There you go.
Or when Aaron can afford it.
Yeah, exactly. Stephen White. Brian brought up a great point about Marvel. Well, let's get him started. One that I've thought about too. I do not want Marvel to stop making movies and TV shows, but I am worried it will get to be too much and they will lose viewers. I hope it never happens, but you can't help but wonder. And what about a Marvel TV channel? I think that's actually a really good idea. Nothing but Marvel movies and TV shows 24/7. That would be cool, and don't think they're not thinking about it, Stephen. Maybe they would bring back The Punisher. I could see that as a Marvel Nights kind of late night show. Bring back Thomas Jane.
They should put that on the Netflix. Add that to that slate of shows they're doing on Netflix.
I don't think they're not thinking about it. Justin, you got one more.
We got an email from Jim. He says The Untouchables, fantastic movie. Still without a television, which means I'm still enjoying past episodes of The Hollywood Outsider. I've got to say, I've never laughed so hard as I did during Brian's drunk 100th episode.
What?
Classic. Since I'm behind on movie watching, I pulled out my Kindle and watched World War Z, Iron Man 3, Man of Steel, The Avengers, and Pacific Rim. I enjoyed all of them. I gotta say, I had no plans to see Pacific Rim, but watched it based on Justin's review, and I thought it was a great movie. You're welcome, Jim.
Good, because his ego was getting small.
Yes, thank you for the pump up. Also, never have I been more proud to be called a sad son of a bitch than when Justin did a shout out to me a couple weeks ago in referencing to me being without a television. Well, my house will be done Friday, so my TV will be back, but rest assured, I'm going to keep listening to you guys. I also plan on doing all my Christmas shopping through your Amazon link on your website. Yay. Smiley face. Fondly, Jim, a.k.a. the sad son of a bitch.
That's fantastic.
He's a double SOB.
Yeah, he's a double SOB. You can always find us at thehollywoodoutsider.com, Twitter, H_outsider, Facebook.com/thehollywoodoutsider. Leave us a message or text us at 818-814-6426. Probably won't be any outtakes this week because we're already right at the limit, but I'll see what we can do. Email us at feedback@thehollywoodoutsider.com. Listen and subscribe free on iTunes, your Stitcher Radio app, or through our RSS feed. That's going to do it for this episode of The Hollywood Outsider. Thanks to Justin, Brian, and Scott for being here.
Thanks, man.
Peace out.
Peace, bitches.
And remember, the next time, well, hang on. And happy Thanksgiving to everyone if you celebrate. If you don't, happy Thursday.
I'm thankful for you three knuckleheads.
Aww.
I'm thankful for Aaron and Brian. And Scotty.
Remember, guys, the next time you go to a theater, buy popcorn.
For fuck's sake, am I the only one who listens around here?
Well, to be honest, I listened
but that
to
was
it.
a poor representation.
That was kind of a bad
Why don't you
representation.
suck my dick?
Brian, that's on you.
Yeah, all right.
It is almost Christmas. He made a wish.
It's better to give, I guess.
That kid gets what he wants. I think Justin should get what he wants.
You know what I forgot?
What?
I saw...
I don't know why I did that.
This is The Hollywood Outsider. That was bad.
Dude, every time, man. I swear you do it on purpose.
This is The Hollywood Outsider.
You had your chance, man.
Well, no, because you were talking at the time, so you wouldn't have. It was like stuff where I was adding into it or something.
Yeah, you really weren't adding, so.
Don't kid yourself. You weren't bringing a whole lot.
Yeah. The table was bare.
I really don't care for the way you're speaking to me.
And I really don't care for the way your company left me in the middle of fucking nowhere with fucking keys to a fucking car that isn't fucking there. And I really didn't care to fucking walk down a fucking highway and across a fucking runway to get back here to have you smile at my fucking face. I want a fucking car right fucking now.
May I see your rental agreement?
I threw it away.
Oh, boy.
Oh boy, what?
You're fucked.